Carry your candle, run to the darkness, seek out the hopeless, confused and torn. Hold out your candle for all to see it. Take your candle, go light your world. Take your candle, go light your world. So take your candle, take your candle, go light your world. Take your candle, go light your
Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who has blessed us in Jesus Christ in every spiritual blessing in the heavenly realm. Even as He chose us in Him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and blameless before Him. In love, He predestined us for adoption to Himself, as sons through Jesus Christ, according to the purpose of His will, to the praise of His glorious grace, with which He has blessed us in the Beloved. In Him we have redemption through His blood, the forgiveness of our trespasses, according to the riches of His grace, which He lavished upon us in all wisdom and insight, making known unto us the mystery of His will, according to His purpose, which He set forth in Christ Jesus, as a plan for the fullness of time, to unite all things in Him, things in heaven and things on earth. In Him we have obtained an inheritance, having predestined according to the purpose of Him who works all things according to the counsel of His will, so that we who are first to hope in Christ might be to the praise of His glory. In Him you also, when you heard the word of truth, the gospel of His salvation, believed in Him, and were sealed with the promise of the Holy Spirit, who is the guarantee of our inheritance, until we acquire the possession of it, to the praise of His glory. In Christ the Lord, my hope is found. He is my life, my strength, my song. His cornerstone, His solid ground, for through the hills and clouds and storm, what heights and low, what depths of deep. be to the name of the Lord. The Lamb of God that was slain for our sins. He who gave himself that we might have life. Oh, the righteousness of God. He became sin that we might be the righteousness of God. He became a curse that we might be blessed of God. He laid his life down and accepted death on a cross that we might have life eternal. Glory be to your name. Honor and praise in the heavens. Glory and honor be unto you forever. Blessed be your name. And now our names are written in the Lamb of God. And we have hope beyond the grave. That we know that our hope will not be vain. Glory be to your name. Glory be to your name. Thank you for your Thank you for your atonement. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your grace. Glory be to your name. Oh Jesus, we exalt you tonight. We praise your name tonight. We stand in your presence to praise your name. We are forever grateful for the cross. We are thankful that Lord, you gave your life for us. Thank you that you saved us entirely. Thank you that you delivered us from the kingdom of darkness. Thank you that you freed us from the bondage of sin. Thank you that you gave us life eternal. Thank you. We will never be able to say thank you enough. Our hearts will forever flow with thankfulness to you for all that you have accomplished on our behalf. And even then, Lord, we do not know enough to praise you enough. We want to say thank you. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name. And last year we had opportunity with my wife to be a best couple to a young couple that we have walked with. And I remember seated at their wedding, and as the joining and the ordaining, the joining reverend was explaining the vows, the Holy Spirit has brought lots of memories of where God got me from. And I remembered my college days. And I remembered how I was lost in sin. And I remembered how I was immoral. And then I remembered how God forgave me. As I was seated right in that wedding, I started crying. And I couldn't believe that I was the one seated to stand alongside people who were getting married. And I cried and cried, remembering the mercies of God and where God delivered me from. And as we were singing and just loving the Lord, I think those scenes came back and forth. And the couple that was being joined, one was coming from a very broken home. The parents had separated. The father was living in a different country and now had been married, and he had flown in, and there was the whole awkwardness of how the parents would treat each other at that point when now they are brought together because of their daughter. And I looked at all the families represented when we were seated in that wedding. And my heart bled within. And I thought, oh God, what power of the gospel. That today you gave me opportunity to be reconciled with you. And not only to be reconciled with you, that also the reconciliation flows into so many other people and families. Why we were in that wedding, the reason we were in that wedding dates back to 2007. And we were 1 year married with my wife. And we were invited to speak in a university concerning romantic relationships. And God had set us on a path we had never been before. And I remember speaking to the students. And like Dr. John Piper says, that there is no generation that has ever had a high view of marriage ever. And he explains that in his book, This Momentary Marriage. And I remember as the students were there and they looked at us and they said, would you please come next week and tell us the things you were telling us? And they called their friends. And after that week, they said, could you please go and come again next week and please repeat it because my friend needs to hear about it. And soon the hall was full of 200 university students. And out of that was born a movement. And 2 years later, we had about 26 weddings coming from that single university campus. God had started to do something new amongst us that even myself I became scared about. And that led to a whole movement around the country where we moved from campus to campus, giving a vision for family again to my own countrymen. And we were in this wedding, which was our 15th wedding to be a best couple too, because we had worked with those two students while they were in medical school. And tonight, as we think about this night of change, and as we gather here in 2019 to talk about what kind of visions is God birthing in your heart, I'd like to make this plea to all of you Nigerians, that if there's anywhere this world is broken, it is in the family. If there's any brokenness in this world as we speak right now, it is in the family. If there's any confusion, it is in the family. If there is any spiritual warfare that is bare knuckle, it is in the family. You and I would bear me witness that our world right now is confused concerning human sexuality. Men are marrying men, and they are actually going publicly. Just last week, we had the New York court, I think, that approved abortion of babies. You and I know that there is nothing that pains as deeply as a wound that you get from family. If there's anything we struggle to forgive, are offenses committed within family. If there's nothing that hurts so widely and affects so many people, is actually messes done within a family.
You know too well that when your uncle is not doing well with his wife, your family gets involved. When your sister is being chased away by her husband, your family gets involved. You will have a sleepless night if your brother is not doing very well in his own family. There's nothing that destabilizes us. If your younger brother is irresponsible, you're sure that he will take care of his family and start paying his bills. There's nothing that damages us for many generations as family. If your grandfather was a drunkard and did not take his responsibility as a man, I tell you today you're paying for it. And you're experiencing the effects of 2-3 generations later of the responsibility of a single man whom you probably did not even know personally. And maybe your siblings didn't go to school. And maybe you struggled in poverty in your upbringing. And many of us today have no desire to get married because you've watched marriages that are not working. You've seen your own parents fight and argue before your very sight. And you say, if that's what marriage is, what my mother has gone through, I want to be single for the rest of my life. If there's a bitterness that many of us are still carrying on even today, are the pains that we picked up from our childhood, and the abuse, and the insults, and the hurting, and the physical beatings we received from the homes that we grew up in. When I go to speak in a school, and a student comes and says, Johnny, I want to sit and talk to you. And when I see a girl coming closer, and she starts crying even before she tells me what is the issue, the next word I hear is, you know what, Johnny, my father. I have never forgotten this girl that was so passionate in a camp that I was in. And we had a wonderful day like today. And I had asked the students to go back home and ask the parents to give them money so that they can come and buy more resources as they go back and as we finish up the conference. And the following day, the girl came late. And after she came late, I realized that she didn't even carry the money. All the other students came and picked up a number of the resources that we had. And later on, I met her during the break, and she started crying. And I asked her, what happened? And I remember how enthusiastic you were yesterday. And trying to compose herself, she wiped her tears, and then she told me, my dad beat my mom last night. We didn't even have opportunity to even tell him what I wanted to tell him. And dear brothers and sisters, tonight the Lord would love for every one of us to envision a godly family. Every one of us. Every one of us. And no one should be left behind. None of us should be left behind. If there's anything that speaks as a light to the world of the power of the gospel, is a believing family and a believing home and a believing marriage that is so different from all the marriages around you, all the romantic relationships around you, and all the family units around you. There is nothing that's powerful. There is nothing that speaks so much light before our very own relatives, our own neighbors, our own villages where we come from, our peers at work. There is nothing that speaks as powerfully as the way we walk right from the beginning and how we interact with romantic relationships right from the start all the way into the legacy of a family. And tonight we want to turn to God, and I want to make this persuasion to you that if there is anything else that you will build in this world, and if there is anything else that your life will ever amount to, that one of the things you will hold dear to your heart is that you will leave for your children and for your children's children a legacy of godly family. Many men have been able to accomplish great things in this world. When we talk about vision, sometimes we can be distracted to imagine about the accomplishment of great projects and great undertakings that leave other men surprised. We have great men who have accomplished great things in this world. We have Nobel laureates. We even have one from our own country. And the only Nobel laureate from Kenya, when she was passing on, and she was sick on her deathbed, and asked, what would you have done differently? She said, I wish I actually did family differently. She was celebrated all over the world, but she didn't manage to leave a legacy of a godly family. Nelson Mandela fought apartheid single-handedly. Well, not single-handedly, really. He was among the leaders that actually ushered South Africa into a forgiveness. He is an icon for us here in Africa. But you and I also know that Nelson Mandela left a broken home. When we think about the kind of presidents we have and the political leaders that we have, it is easier to become a billionaire than it is to leave a godly family. It is easier to become the richest man in Nigeria than to become the man that left a godly family. It is easier for you to actually build a ministry greater than Timazi here in Nigeria, but leave a broken home. Most of the presidents across the world right now, look at their families, look at the backgrounds, look at what they are living after the accomplishments of our time today. And I want to say this, my dear brothers and sisters. The vision for a godly family is not a simple one. It's not a simple one. And neither has it ever been a simple one in history. We read from the scriptures, and I want us to look back, because I want you, by the time we finish tonight, I know some of you, you've hurt so much, you've cried so much, that you swore to yourself you will never get married. You looked at how your mother suffered. You look at how you went through so much struggle with an irresponsible father. And you saw to your heart, marriage is not for me. I can't gamble with it. I can't bear that kind of pain anymore. But tonight is a night of change.
Amen.
Because we are going to turn that tide. I remember my wife told me the horrors of how she grew up. How her dad used to be a drunkard every day. And how they were so poor. And sometimes they would cook And the little food that is left, and there were 11 of them, the father would come drunk and kick it. And they would sleep hungry. And he would hurl insults. And she wanted to become a Catholic nun. Until the gospel redeemed our perspective. And you know, the Lord laid in our hearts, the reason you need to get married, you who have now found the gospel, is to change the tide and the story of your family. You do not need to submit to what the devil has actually committed you to. It is your opportunity to say, this is the background I'm coming from. But now, henceforth, I'm beginning a new legacy. And that in my own family, there will be a legacy that will be told about me. We named our firstborn son Perez. That was inspired because Perez was born of incest in the Bible. Genesis chapter 38 is a misnomer because 37, 39 is actually talking about the story of Joseph in Egypt. Genesis 38 is a serious interruption in the telling of the story of Joseph. And it talks about how Judah refused to give a son to Tamar, and Tamar pretended to be a prostitute, and Tamar went over and stayed on the path, slept with her father-in-law, and she got twins. She got Perez and she got Zerah. And then chapter 38 ends. And then I ask myself, what an interruption. I mean, what a sad story. What an immoral thing. How do you even put such a story in the Bible? It makes God look bad. Until I read the book of Ruth. And apparently today the Lord woke me up at 4 and I was just plowing through that book. And it reminded me that in the book of Ruth, when the elders were blessing Boaz because he was becoming the king's redeemer to Ruth, they proclaimed a blessing upon Boaz and told him in verse 12 of chapter number 4, may your family become like the family of Perez. Perez had grown up in shame. Because I do not know whether you understand what it means to grow up when your father is also your grandfather. I don't know whether you know what that means. To imagine that your mother was a prostitute. I do not know what it meant for him to grow up. You know, when you go to play with other boys and the other boys tell you, you shut up, your dad is your grandfather. But when we do not know how his upbringing became, we do not know his story of his life, all we know is that 400 years later, Perez was the SI unit of a blessing for any family that was getting married. We can only deduce from that blessing that Perez had turned around his life. And not only had he overcome the shame of his source and how he grew up and from whence he came from, God had done a new thing in his life. And he had reason to become not just himself as an individual. The thing that is praised about him in the book of Ruth is his family. And the greatness of a man's family is greater than the man himself. And in the book of Ruth, we find a different Perez. And that's how we named our son, to say that, you know, It doesn't matter what kind of backgrounds we have come from. And tonight it doesn't matter how your family used to be. I do not know whether you came from a polygamous family. I do not know whether you came from an abusive father's family. I do not know whether you were even having a broken family as you're speaking. I do not even know whether you do not even know your parents as I speak. Tonight is a night of change for you. And God is going to write your story and write for you a different story. And I want you to hold unto the promise of a new vision. And when you come to the book, when God was speaking to Abraham, I do not know whether you pay attention to the conversation that God has with Abraham. There are few people in the scriptures that God called his friends, or actually referred them with a very personal note. There are very few in scripture. Many of them he would call them his servants. There are few whom he actually regarded with a personal, sentimental kind of expression. Two of them, of his good friends, one was Enoch, whom he took up. The other was Abraham. Abraham was called a friend of God. And listen, God calls Abraham and said to Abraham, go from your country and from your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. And I will make you into a great nation. And I will bless you. And I will make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. And him who dishonors you, I will curse. And in you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. God raised the nation of Israel from this one man. And he took him out in an open sky and told him, look up, Abraham. And when he looked up and said, can you count the stars that you can see? I will make you a father of many nations, as many stars as you can count. I do not know how you interpret that. But if it were me, and God took me out today, and told me to look up, and repeated the words that he spoke to Abraham, honestly, I wouldn't understand what he's talking about. It probably wouldn't make much sense to me. Because for many of us in this generation, we seek from God material blessings. We seek from him things that we can touch, things we can see, like vehicles and houses and jobs, things we can touch and relate to. Remember, God promised Abraham something he couldn't relate with as a human being. Later on, when God was about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, God now allows us to understand what he is thinking about Abraham. And in chapter 18, from verse 18 of the book of Genesis, the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation. And all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I have chosen him, that he may command his children and his household after him. I don't know if you've ever seen this verse. God hinged his promise to Abraham because he knew that Abraham will order his own family and household to follow and keep the way of the Lord. Why? Because God was to accomplish what he had promised to Abraham through his family. So it was important that Abraham would actually command and pass on the legacy of godliness to his own family, that it might be fulfilled through him. And that's why we talk about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that's why it was important when Abraham was dying. He told his servant, put your hand on my thigh. My son cannot marry anyone. You're not hearing me. My son cannot marry anyone. Because the promise we have is a family legacy. And it is important what kind of family my son gets. Because the covenant I have with God, the covenant I have with God matters who I marry. It matters how we conduct ourselves. And it was important to Abraham. And Isaac repeated the same thing. Isaac said, you know what? When Esau married the Canaanite women, Isaac said, no, let our son go back to our people in Canaan, because it is important who Jacob gets married to for the fulfillment of God's purposes. And God, speaking to Abraham, is the gift that God gives to those he loves deeply. When God is excited in Scripture, when God is so happy in Scripture, and you find him excited about his servants, what God would say is this: God would not give them blessings for their own time. God would say, because you made me so excited, you will never lack a man to serve me in your own family. In generations to come, your son will serve me. You will never lack a servant to serve me in your lineage. That is the greatest blessing God would give when he would be super excited about you. And that's what he told Abraham. And he knew that Abraham would order his family, because Abraham understood that God was not actually giving him certain things. But maybe when we look at another man is when you maybe understand it, continue to actually see the window of the transactions that God was having together with his servants. The other gentleman that God seemed to have had a very interesting relationship with was David. The only man God says, a man after my own heart. And David, after he had conquered all the kingdoms of his own time, in other words, after David had actually accomplished what was humanly possible, and the scripture says he had rest from all his enemies, and he had built for himself a palatial home made of cedar. And then he thought, goodness, what legacy do I want to leave? And most presidents, when they want to leave a legacy, they build a big monument, isn't it? Back to their name. And David said, well, I am here living in a palace of cedar, yet the ark of the Lord is out there. And David decided, let me build God a temple. And that night when he harbored that thought, God sent Prophet Nathan. And he said, go back to David. And in 2 Samuel chapter 7, this is what God tells David. Now remember, David was the most powerful man on earth at this time. He had conquered all the known world. In fact, he had so much wealth that he is the one who provided everything Solomon, almost everything Solomon needed to build the temple. David had actually reserved those things to his own son. But listen to the conversation that God gives to David. 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 12. And it says, and I will give you rest from all your enemies. Moreover, the Lord declares to you that the Lord will make you a house. When your days are over, when your days are fulfilled, and you rest with your fathers, I will set up your seed after you, who will come from your body, and I will establish his kingdom. Notice, this is the same thing God told Abraham. These are the same things God speaks to those whom he loves, and the man that whom he is well pleased with. 13 says, he shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Now, this is a prophetic verse, and it is also a messianic verse. So it speaks both doubly to what is happening at the moment. It also speaks prophetically about Jesus Christ. And it says, when he commits iniquity, I will discipline him with the rod of men, with the stripes of the sons of men, but my steadfast love will not depart from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away from before you. And your house and your kingdom shall be made sure forever before me. Your throne shall be established forever and forever. When the descendants of David sinned, God would remember and have mercy. And say, because of my servant David, I'll forgive you. And he would actually make sure that the lineage of David continued to have a man of God in every generation. But let me give you a little bit more of insight before we take time to pray together. Let's turn to Psalm 127 to look at the interpretation of the conversation that God is having with David in this Solomonic psalm. In the Solomonic psalm, Psalm 127, it reads, unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it in vain. I know when we read this verse when we are opening homes. We read this verse when we are dedicating the church. Tonight God is going to give you a different insight into this psalm. Unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it. Unless the Lord guards the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. In vain, it is vain for you to rise up early and to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for he gives his beloved sleep. Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord. Wait a minute. What's happening? The fruit of the womb is a reward, like arrows in the hands of a warrior. So are the children of one's youth. Blessed or happy is the man who has his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but shall speak with their enemies in the gates. Verse 1 and 2, verse 3 to 5, are they talking about two different things? I don't think so. When David was thinking about how to respond to God, David said, I want to build a house for God. When God responds to him, God responds to him and tells him, go tell David, I will build you a house. So David feels he has a house that is so magnificent that now he wants to build God's a house. Now, God on the other hand is telling David, you don't have a house, I will build you a house. So who is speaking the truth? These are two people, each one of them telling each other, I will build you a house. David is telling God, I will build you a house. God is telling David, hey boss, I'm the one who got you from the sheep of your father. I will build you a house. David was thinking about brick and mortar. God was thinking generations. God was telling him, when you will sleep and you have died, what is important, David, is not what you build when you are alive. What is important is who you live when you die, and how you will live a legacy that you will live after you're gone. And that you cannot build by yourself. I will build that for you. And I will allow you to know the greater blessing. Because a great man is not known by what he did when he was alive. A great man is known by what he left after he's long gone. And he invites here, and David comes and says this, it is in vain that you wake up early and you toil and work so hard to buy all the things that you have bought. Do you know why? Because unless the Lord builds you a house, those things can be destroyed in one generation and they are gone. It can be in vain that you have labored so hard. If your family, if you're not seeing what God is seeing, if you're not understanding the mathematics that God is looking at your life at, then you probably will labor in vain during your lifetime. And you will not be able to leave anything when you die. And God is saying, listen, I will build your house. And that's why God is actually speaking about not the house of the brick. In my own tribal language, the same word for clan is the same word for house. We say Nyumba. Like now my name is Gatuk, we say Nyumba ya Gatuku. So my clan, my language, my local language for my clan is actually a house. The house of Gaduku. So when people talk about the house of Gaduku, they are talking about the physical house. They are talking about everyone who will be born later on, who will bear my name and who will trace their legacy from me. And that is the house that God is talking about. And David was thinking about the brick and mortar. And the servants that God invites to understand what He is thinking and how God operates. When the promise of the Holy Spirit is being spoken of by Peter, Peter says this promise of what you've received is for you and for your, we Pentecostals don't take care of the second thing. He says this promise is not just for you, it is for you and for your children. And we need to know that a man can sacrifice his own life to save one generation. But a man also can actually save many generations by leaving a legacy of deliverance. I can be a man of God in my own generation. But if I raise my son to be like me and my daughters to be like me, when I'm gone, I have left for the world a legacy. My name will forever serve God long after I'm gone. And there will always be men and women who will serve God after we are gone. And you and I need to be aware we are here for a short time. We are here for a short time. We are here for such a short time. God's purposes are cross-generational. There is no single promise. There is no single great vision that God gave that was accomplished in one generation. The things that God talks about, He is not limited by time and space. So when God tells you, I will come, probably He's talking about 70 years, 100 years, 200 years from the time He is speaking to you. God is cross-generational. And therefore, I need to understand that I need to walk with Him and play my part at the portion in history that He invites me to walk with Him. And by doing so, the only way I know that I can sustain that legacy is not only holding the vision to proclaim the gospel as an individual, but also as a person. I will also now take my call and my vision for my family more seriously. Praise the Lord. And tonight, I'm inviting you to consider a vision for your family. And tonight I'm inviting you to actually consider a vision very seriously for family. I want you, even if you're not married today, and if you came from a background that was painful, and you've been heartbroken before in the romantic relationships that you have been into, God is calling us. God is calling us into this vision and to know that this promise, this is one of the most powerful weapons or in a display of the gospel. One, we are being invited into purity. There is no greater display of purity and a witness for the gospel and a light to the nations. All your classmates in college do not know what it means to stay with a girl and not kiss her until you get married. And they're asking, how are you able to do that? How are you able to be faithful to one wife all your life? How are you doing it? Because all the men and all the talk that is on the radio and on the TV talk shows is that all the men in this world are cheaters. We who are believers need to speak to the world, become a light to the nations in the spaces where they are having questions. And one of those spaces is in the sexual purity. That's where we need to shine. And that's a God-given opportunity for you who is in a romantic relationship to speak the light of Jesus in the way that you conduct yourself in that romantic relationship. It is in the way that I treat my wife. Even before you get married, not only do we walk in purity, and I'm talking about serious sexual purity standards. Why? Because I know that I have a vision for family. I'm building legacy. I can't be immoral in this courtship. You can't be immoral. Because if you have a young boy who keeps on touching you, sisters, are you listening? You are having that boy cannot build a legacy. He won't. He's not the kind of man that will leave godliness for your children and your children's children. He won't. He doesn't have the capacity to do that. And you need to be anchored and make family with a man who will tell you, sister, I won't touch you because I honor you and I know what God wants to do with us, not only for this generation but also the generations to come. And because of that, I will honor you in purity. Our generation is full of irresponsible men. Men who are not providing for their wives. Men who are not providing for their families. And we and I need to know that we need to speak the light of Jesus into that space. My wife knows that the provisions for her and our children fall squarely on me. What she dresses, salon, manicure, pedicure, whatever she wants, it is my budget. No, gentlemen, you're not listening. It is my budget. If she works, she's assisting me, but it is my work. Because God has invited me. In fact, today I was reading in terms of the book of Boaz, and when Ruth was going to get married to Boaz, she asked Boaz, spread a wing over me. And her mother-in-law had taught her and said, go lie at his feet and ask him to spread his wing over you. We as men are called by God to provide for the people that he brings to us. And because our world is filled with irresponsible fathers, your sisters, your brothers need to look at the way you provide for your wife and say, this man is different and we do not know where he comes from. And then you tell them the gospel. Jesus delivered me. Praise the Lord. It is in a romantic relationship. There's nowhere else where we are brought to a crucible of our own character flows. The intensity of how people relate in a romantic relationship brings out the lemonade out of us. The juice that comes out when we have interacted with another human being so closely is unpleasant. But that is an opportunity for the gospel. It is in that opportunity when my wife is unpleasant and I am a man that God has called to be a priest unto her, that we will have a difficult communication at that point in time, but I still then hug her and tell her I love you, and I will not lift my hand against her, and I will love her like Christ loves the church. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. And the world needs to see that kind of love happening in your life. There's nothing that speaks so powerfully than that. There's nothing that speaks so powerfully to your workmates. Nothing. Nothing speaks so powerfully to your workmates. You know where you work? And they know how your husband loves you? I used to drop my wife when I was able and pick her from work. And the other guys were saying, what's wrong with this man? I told her, yes, tell the master what's wrong with this man. Because I'm different. Because the gospel has redeemed me from a life of sinfulness. And for that sake, we speak to the world concerning the light. And in setting that, you're setting the stage for a generation to come. I never grew up seeing my father hug my mother. I had never seen it with my eyes. I mean, it was even unthinkable that my father can hug my mother. Even those ones that are accidental, you know, like you're going to the kitchen and and the house is not big enough and you just bump it. My father never even used to have that. And I told my children, I hug their mother every day. I hold her and pray for her. And they have, and I tell them, you will grow like that. I'll give them an opportunity for them to know what it means. and leave for them a legacy of what Christ does to the heart of a man together with his wife, and make a display of how Christ loves the church. When we were courting, and my wife, I asked her, what will I do in the future that will make you leave me? I mean, what is that you think about and hear about, and you're saying this? I think this is too much. You talk about, you ever heard about faith and unfaithfulness? I don't think I'll stomach that. Then we had a long discussion and we said, you know what? When I read the book of Hosea, and I saw how God made this demonstration, and he asked Hosea to marry a whore, and then God told Israel, you've been unfaithful to me, but I still love you. And I told my wife, whatever happens in the future, I do not know, and this is our 13th year of marriage, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And you don't have me. Christ told us as his bride, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Unless you leave me or forsake me, for sure I will never leave you nor forsake you. And a marriage covenant is not a contract. It can actually survive on the commitment of one party. Because your covenant with God never breaks, even when you do not fulfill your side of it. The covenant you have with God is only sustained by one party. Only one party has been faithful. Christ has been faithful. And that's why you have the promise and the assurance that you will enter heaven. It is not your faithfulness. It is because Christ has been faithful. You become unfaithful, you go away, you find it standing and telling you, I'm waiting for you. And you repent, he forgives you, and you walk with him again. And we must make a display to our disbelieving world the permanence of marriage. Because it displays the covenant we have with our God. And that's why I know that my name is written in the Lamb Book of Life. And that's the assurance I have that we let into the kingdom of God. Not because of who I am and what I will do, because of his faithfulness. And I want to be that faithful. I want to be that faithful. God is calling us to speak and to love. We do not have expression of love in families. We have men of God who are powerful out there. There's this funny illustration I gave when I was speaking in one of the universities in my own country. Of this pastor who was preaching, and then his wife brought some utensils at the back and the mattresses. And the pastor is preaching and is wondering what's happening. My wife has brought some mattresses at the back, and so he quickly finished the sermon, and as a good pastor stood at the gate and at the door and greeted everybody as they walked out, then asked, hey, Mama Sue, what's wrong? Why you brought mattresses? Then he said, you know what, Oga? When you're in church, you're smiling at everyone. Oh, praise the Lord. How was your week? Then when you come at home, you are like a hyena. You don't smile at us. You don't even call me. You only call me sweetheart when you are on the pulpit. So I decided maybe something normally happens between church and home. So I thought, let's come and stay in church where you are this guy. Our children have the highest risk of becoming atheists because of the inconsistency of our lives. My son must know for sure that the way I pray at home is the way I pray in public. The way I love the mother in public is the way I love the mother at home. That I am one and the same person. The consistency of my life must be a witness to my children and to my wife. One of the things that amazes me is that I should preach when my wife sits and she is able to say amen to what I'm saying. Because she can say, I live with that man. And I know that man is a man of God. And I want to invite you, brethren, tonight. Because tonight I think some of you have not taken romantic relationship serious. A number of you are careless concerning your marriages. And you won't leave a legacy living life like that. You won't. Brothers and sisters, we need to be so serious in how we work out our marriages. How we walk with our own families. How we walk in the courtships. How we process the decision to get into a romantic relationship. How we honor God in the whole process. Because it is through that relationship that God is building you a house. And why God built Abraham a house is because Abraham cooperated with God. And he commanded his household to follow after God. And we need to cooperate tonight. And you need tonight, if you are not married, to ask yourself tonight, where are you saying you will never get married? Are you living in bitterness? Because you need to bring that bitterness before God tonight. And you need to ask God, God, deal with me that I may release the bitterness of the past. And that I may learn how to love like you do. I want to receive the freshness of the Spirit of God. Not only will I do great things to other people, but I also leave a legacy in my own line. It will not help you anymore for you to be so renowned publicly, but at home you are not anything. Don't die like Samson. Don't die like Samson. Don't die like Samson. Because when he died, he died. Leave a legacy. I love the Rechabites. If you've read about the Rechabites. And they had their father Jonadab, who left them and told them and guided his family so well that when Israel had walked away, God told them, you go to the house of Jonadab, son of Rechab, and ask him. And they could not take wine because their father taught them not to take wine. And they were not even Christians. They were not even Israelites. But they followed. Their home was actually raised well. And maybe we need just to begin from the very beginning. You need to take marriage so seriously that before you get married, you actually want to read at least 3 serious books on marriage. I'm not speaking to a number of us because God wants you to be serious. Because some of you are not serious. And Alex told us that things do not just happen. People make things happen. People cooperate with God, get out of their comfort zones and get hold of the things that must be. You need to take books seriously and read at least 3 books. Get one couple that you admire and tell them, I want to sit under your feet. I want to learn. How do you do this thing? Go and visit Alex at home. Go and visit Nuru and ask them, how do you do this thing? Now I'm young, I'm not yet married. I don't want to make my mistakes. I want to grow up in godliness. Show me the way. Many of us are actually just strolling with no guidance because you take marriage casually. And you only show up to the elders of this movement when you're in a crisis. Shame on you. You need to wake up now. And before you get into a crisis, get help. Get wisdom at this point and be serious on how you lay your foundation. You know, I remember someone who told me, I fasted for a whole year. when I was longing for, when I was looking, trusting God for a wife, someone was laughing. I remember I met with a girl and I told her, every Wednesday, I told you I was fasting 2 days in a week and praying a whole night. Wednesday was just for a wife. Then Friday was for the kingdom. And the lady who told me I was joking, she later on broke up. When I look back at how God brought Maggie into my life and how she's become a helpmate to me, and the kind of exploits God has allowed us to experience together, and how we become a team in the family that God has given us, I thank God. I am forever grateful. Because probably I wouldn't even be here today. And I want you to take it seriously. I want her to be the mother of my children. Don't just say he does not drink. He does not drink is not a qualification. Nobody is known for what they don't do. People are known for the things they do. And he doesn't smoke. That's not a qualification. You want a man whose your children wake up when he is praying. You know it is 5 o'clock because you hear your dad praying. Giving your sons and your daughters such a father. Sisters, listen to a man sharing in a Bible study and he said, my goodness, where did he get that revelation? Marry such a man. Stop marrying a man you are trying to show the scripture and he's not seeing. You naturally marry a man when he shares in inside, you say, my goodness, I didn't see that from the Bible. Because when you get married, nothing magical happens. The same man continues to walk the same way. My wife is finishing her 16th round of Bible cover to cover, Genesis to Revelation. And she covers her Bible from Genesis to Revelation twice a year. Her children are now midway. Her girl, who is now 8 years old, is turning 8 this year, is actually hitting the book of Ezra. It's not me. There's nothing I did. It's who I married. There are things that will never happen in the future for the vision you're thinking because of who you married. And I want you to take it seriously. I remember the things that attracted me to her. Of course, she's a beautiful girl. But I remember one day what actually struck me is when I looked at her when she had come out from a mission and her hair was full of dust. And she had done door to door for a week. And she came in with a bag and sandals full of soil up to here. And I looked at her and I said, goodness, this is the guy I want. This is the guy I want to be the mother of my children. Praise the Lord. Brethren, we need to be serious. We need to be serious. Because the world needs the light out of our homes. Our homes need to become cities of refuge. So that your brothers and sisters who are fighting in their own marriages can come to your home and find some refuge. And find at least one family in the entire extended family that has peace. I think there need to be one family that has some peace, where people, when they have issues, that's where they go. And I hope that your home is becoming that. And that will come from the choices you make when you're single, how you walk in purity when you're single, how you receive wisdom when you're single, the convictions that you build when you're single, the decisions that you make when you're in courtship. That's what transits you and gives you a takeoff when you get married. And when we get married, we do not stop pursuing her. I take my wife out every fortnight. I take her out and we want to have a conversation. We are part of a group where we do Bible study with other couples. We read books on marriage because we want to grow and develop. I don't just want to love her at the minimum. I want to love her extravagantly. I want to love her until she cries and asks me, what's wrong with you? I tell her, Jesus loves you. And it is not in what we see in movies. It is the daily commitment of a man who is committed to his wife. I wash our babies every day. I'm the one who washed our babies every day because she was making dinner. I used to wake up in the morning when she's preparing this child and preparing this other. I don't put the car when I'm outside. Baby, what? No, that's not what I do. That's not what a man does. That's not what a man does. And there are many things we can talk about, dear friends. But for us to leave a legacy, we have to be so committed. And every day praying, God, build me a house. Oh God, build me a house. And tonight I want you to be desperate. Because I'm not so sure whether you've been desperate enough to make a display of Christ in your own home and in your own roof if you're married. And if you are not married, whether your vision is great enough. I want to pray that every one of your grandchildren will say, we had a grandmother. Oh, you do not know our grandmother. Our grandmother was a powerhouse. Our grandfather, ooh, you know my grandfather, and they're describing you. My grandfather was passionate for God. My grandfather used to wake us up at 5 in the morning to pray. My grandfather loved my grandmother in a way that I have never seen another man love his wife. My grandfather was a hard-working man. He provided for our families. And we need to be captured by a great vision. Don't do the minimum. Exceed what the world is doing. And let us set the new standard for what it means to be married. Because the world does not know. The world doesn't know. Where will they learn from? Not from the soap operas. They will learn it from you and I, because we will become the light of the world. It is our neighbor that will watch us and say, but those people who live in that house, they are very strange. They walk in their hands holding each other. Nobody else holds his wife around this neighborhood. Let's rise up. Please be desperate like you've never been before. If you're a mother, I think maybe you're, as a wife, maybe you're not doing enough. Oh, ask the Lord to build your house. Oh God. Let you not just be celebrated out there in the public. Ask God, I want to succeed in my own roof. Build me a house, oh God. May the legacy that you leave through your children and your children's children will be traced back to you. That they will say, today we are believers because of our father. Our grandfather was a man of God. Our grandmother was an intercessor. And we learned it from her. We knew what it means to love each other from them. Oh, ask that the Lord will build your house. Oh God. Oh God. Ask that the Lord to build your house. Some of us have been lazy. You need to repent before God. My vision for family is not great enough. Ask God to enlarge your vision for family. Ask the Lord to envision your own vision, to enlarge your vision concerning family. Ask Him to help you to see 2 generations, 3 generations, 4 generations. Ask Him to say that you may perceive what He is doing. That you will not just live for the here and now, but that through you many nations will be blessed. That your children will become like arrows in the hands of a mighty warrior. And when you will be old, they will contend with the enemies at the gates. Hallelujah. We give praise to your name. We exalt you, O God. We bless your name, our Father. If you've been complaining about your husband or your wife, you need to change tonight. You need to ask the Lord to fill your heart with love for your spouse. You need to ask the Lord to renew your marriage and speak afresh a newness of life. A newness of life. To overflow your heart with His love. Hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah.